Right. Hello, everyone. This is possibly going to be my last video for a few days at least. I am on my last day of my vacation at my holiday home, and after this I am going on a car trip. So I won't be able to do videos for at least like a few weeks. I've been going over my list of topics that people have sent to me and suggested, and one topic stood out that I want to address today for you guys, and that is list building at different levels. So how would I build a list at 500 points? How would I build a list at 1,000 points? And how would I build a list at 1,500 points? So like completely different levels. And I do think that there is a massive difference once you get to different levels of points that you are allowed, especially when you're like cutting down into smaller battles, which are in some ways really good for beginners. It's very accessible for a beginner to buy a few plastic kits and then have enough points for a 500-point game. And for a collector, a 1,500-point game is very, very forgiving. I don't think either of those are especially suited to competitive play. I think that for competitive play, 1,000, 1,250, or maybe like some of the off-point, 1,050 points, whatever, in that range is where you want to go, because then you're still sort of limited to what you can take. But at the same time, you do have enough that it doesn't become very binary. And I'll show you why in a few minutes. In this video, I'll not be making the 1,000-point list. You've seen me make those before. It's very easy to make those lists. And it really depends on the different nationalities that you're going to pick. But by the way, so does the other points values. If you're going 500, it becomes very important what national trait you're taking. So yeah, let's get into it. And I will share my screen now. We're just going to go to Easy Army. Okay, so I will start out with the 500-point list. Now, before I go in and make this list, let me just make one quick disclaimer, and that is when you go down to 500 points, the game becomes very skewed. The nations that get free stuff are especially good at that point level. So France, Belgium, the Indian army for the Brits. So all of these nations that get a free unit, the Soviets especially good at 500 points. So good, in fact, that I think they should be disallowed, those free units for, if you're going to run an event at 500 points, I think you should disallow free units for those nations. They are simply too good. They give you too much power, because the amount of points, it becomes more important, right? You getting an extra 100 points becomes really important at that level, because you're now fighting with 600 points instead of 500. So I'm going to make not a overly competitive using that, because I think you should disallow it. I'm going to make a competitive list at 500 points using what I think is perhaps the most suited national special rules for that range, if we discount the free units. And that is the American Reinforced Platoon. I'm limiting myself to reinforced platoons. If you go theater, you can do all kinds of wacky stuff. But if you go and use reinforced platoons, then this is what I think you should go for. And that is because American infantry is some of the best skirmish infantry you have in the game. And for 500 points, you can really do quite a lot with that infantry. So at 500 points, I also want to have quite a lot of options and quite a lot of order dice in my list, because we're going to be looking at 6, 7 order dice lists, some of them. I want to be at 10, 12 if I can. So let's see, because that will mean that I am dominating the order dice in the bag, which means I am going medium, inexperienced mortar. This is my go-to. We won't at 500 points see many snipers, so this should be perfectly fine. I will also buy a flamethrower. There we go, regular, cheapest one I can get, and a cheap for that, simply because it's so damn useful. I've got inexperienced because I'm still saving as many points as I possibly can. So 2 order dice, 100 points. That's pretty good. I also want, just because the enemy might bring a single armored vehicle, at 500 points you won't see many tanks, but they might be there. So I am buying a single bazooka team. I am going to make them regular, although you could go inexperienced. Oh, those 8 points. Yeah. But I am going to buy them regular. So 4 order dice and 162 points. Good. Now I'm going to need infantry, and a lot of it. But before I do that, I am going to buy a war dog. 1 veteran handler and a war dog. Why? Because it's 13 points for a veteran order dice. I will take that any day. Good. So that brings me to 5 order dice for 180 points. Now let's go and buy some infantry. Preferably, I want my infantry to be really good, so I could go US Marines. Let's leave those for a sec. Regular Marines, they cost 10 points each, and they can have BARs, and up to 3 men of those can have BARs, which makes them very, very useful. So I think we're going to go with the Marines, and I am going to go regular simply because that will save some points, and that is really good for skirmish infantry, which this is going to do. At 500 points, the enemy is not going to bring many tanks, so we're going to skirmish with enemy infantry, and the Marines can really do well there. So I'm going to have 2 BARs in each unit here, giving me a lot of ranged shots, so I can engage the enemy at longer range. And I'm going to go 8-man units, because that is a good size for regular infantry. Now, they were a bit expensive, but we can take it. I am buying the cheapest lieutenant again, because I want to save the points. Right. Now, at 395, I've always spent 400 points. You can already see at this point, I can't even afford any tanks anymore. Just buying the bare minimum of a unit or like a platoon will make sure that I can't buy the tanks. So I have a little bit over 100 points, and I want more infantry. So these units that I'm going to buy now are going to be backline infantry. They are going to hold the back line. They are going to be inexperienced riflemen. 42 points, and 1 more. Inexperienced riflemen. Right. And, oh, where is it? Now, if you can, these are allowed in generic reinforced platoons, but not if you're limited to armies of only. These veteran scout units, FSSF scout teams, they're really good. So I'm going to give them submachine guns. They have the veterans. They have a lot of different special rules, and they have an escape reaction. Really cool. They can go into impassable terrain. They have extra concealment. They spot enemy units better. They're really, really good. There we go, 519 points. I am going to have to shave off a few points. Where to shave? I am going to go down in the size of my Marine units. That sucks, but that is the way it has to be. So that was a 499 points list. Let's just view it. I have 11 order dice. See, I told you I wanted to get to 10 to 12 order dice, and that's where I got. I have the inexperienced lieutenant. I have 2 units of Marines, 5 of them riflemen, 2 of them BAR, so 7-man units. Good skirmish units. I have 2 backline holder units that can sit in terrain and just be on ambush, whatever, go down if they're shot at. I have the scout team, which I can push up because they're a small team. They're really good at concealment. They have escape reactions. They're very tough to kill. I have a medium mortar for the indirect fire of that. I have a flamethrower with the Jeep to throw it up against anything that comes my way. I have a bazooka team in case the enemy decides to run something armored. And I have the war dog to spot and hunt enemy snipers. So all of it pretty useful. All of it can do stuff. Nothing that's like superfluous and could be cut out. Everything has some sort of role to play. That is what I would do for 500 points. Now, moving into 1,500 points. 1,500 points is quite a lot of points. And for that, I think I'm going to do something very unusual. I'm going to build a German list. So like normally I say, make Germany great again is not happened yet. We don't yet have cracked we haven't yet cracked the German army book and figured out how to do this in a way that sort of competitively works. But let's see what we can do at 1,500 points, because at that point level, it becomes possible to run some very interesting stuff. And we are going to run double platoons. At 1,500 points, I think you should. Yeah. So, because at 1,500 points, you're going to need something nasty to throw at the enemy, right? For me, that nasty thing that I always go to is the Polizei Panzer. What is it? It's right down here. Can't find it all of a sudden. Am I blind here, staring at the screen? There we go. M15 Polizei. Right. It has a lot of machine guns. It's a light tank has 4 medium machine guns. So very, very good. They are Italian machine guns, so unfortunately they don't get the Hitler's boss soul, but yeah, well, there you go. At 1,500 points, I also think that you should go with something heavy. So, and there, the best thing to do right now is the Kugelblitz. So I'm looking for Kugelblitz. not the Wirbelwind, that is open-topped. I do not want to be open-topped. I want the Kugelblitz. There we go. See, it's 205 points, pretty expensive, but it is a 9+ tank and it has double turret-mounted heavy autocannons. Very, very deadly. So that is where I would start with Germans. Now, still putting in stuff that is deadly and can really hurt the enemy, I am going to look at the running of Nebelwerfer, 52 points, or the Howling Cow. Which is better, do you think? 2 points. I'm going to run in 2-man. Same, isn't it? It's a 4-man. So the big difference is that it's fixed and it's a bit more expensive. I'm going to run the Howling Cow. Sverre's Wolfgarat, 42 points, inexperienced. I wouldn't buy this regular or veteran. Yes, it makes it more survivable, but you're only hitting on a 6 anyway. So that is there to get the enemy to split up their forces. The second thing, I am going to go balls to the wall and have an 88 flak dual purpose gun. That is very, very good. It's very, very deadly. And I have the points for this to go all out, right? And besides, the models are just wonderful. It's some of the best models you can get. Get the Rubicon one. It is beautiful. Right. That was only 500 points. Now we're going to need officers for all of this. So we're going to go second lieutenant, regular. I'm going to save a few points here. You could try and do something with the lieutenants and get them as first lieutenants and do something sort of snap to trickery. I am not very good at that, so I'm not going to do it. At this point level, I also would want to have at least 1 unit of Brandenburgers, cheap as I can get them, because they're very expensive. They are veterans though, so I will equip them with submachine guns. All of them. And I will give one of them a Panzerfaust, just because they might be a push unit at some points. What I'm buying them for is for the special rules, what they can do behind the enemy lines, sabotage, paranoia, all that jazz, because that will mean that the enemy is more likely to stay on the table, where I can dominate with my 88. So Brandenburgers it is. I think I also want... Now, I want some Strafbataillon, there we go. And I want large units of Strafbats, Shirkers. I don't want to give them anything because they're not worth it. Definitely not. Oh, wait a sec. That was wrong. I am going to make them, aren't I? I can actually buy them regulars. I think I'll try this one because I have points. I keep forgetting that I have 1500 points. More Strafbats. There you go. There we go. Shirkers, regulars, and one more. Now, the trick here that I'm going to be using is I'm going to make use of the Feldjäger special rule where these will not suffer the usual consequences of maybe I should buy that Feldjäger over here. suffer the usual consequences of being shirkers. So I'm going to get a Feldjäger. Feldjäger Corps, is that it? Chained dogs, that's the rule. Any Strafbat battalion or penal squad or replacement army squad starts within 6 inches of Feldgendarmerie or Feldjäger Corps will lose the Shirker special rule for that turn only. So I can ignore the Shirkers. And I might make this a decent sized unit that can push, but I might not. Let's just start with this. Again, giving them SMGs and Panzerfausts just so that they have something to threaten stuff away with. Now, at 1500 points, we're also going to need a lot of order dice and a lot of shots coming out. So we're going to go with the inexperienced medium mortars again, double of those. They're just so cheap. Be a pity not to do it. I also think that I would want a flamethrower. Now, people have been discussing whether or not to do this single shot flamethrower. I don't think I want to do that. I want to at least be able to throw it up again and again. Let's get a field car. Where is it? Heavy field car. Kübelwagen. There we go. Inexperienced one of those. Can transport up to 3 men. The LT can get to go with them. Right. I still need to buy more infantry. I think I should get something that can push and be a real threat. I've been seeing a lot of Fallschirmjägers. You can get green Fallschirmjägers, inexperienced, large units, huh? Oh, don't think they're worth it though. I think we're going to go and get a regular unit of one veteran unit of Fallschirmjägers. Oh, where are they? Now, if your meta allows it, Schützen is really the way to go, actually. Let me just, because you get free LMGs. No, that's in the Western Desert, right? You can see that I don't plan out these videos in advance, can't you? Where is it? Oh, you can always go Storm Pioneers. They're very good. Very, very good. I think I should. I'm going to go 5-man and give them 1 Panzerfaust and a flamethrower, and I will also give them a couple of SMGs. And I'm going to get myself 1 more of these. These are really, really good units, the Storm Pioneers. They can really threaten different types of enemies because they can get both the flamethrower and the Panzerfausts and the SMGs. And we're going to need a few heavy field cars for those. Heavy field cars? Yeah. I'm just buying this as inexperienced. Again, cheap as I can get it. Why not the Hanomaks? Well, because the Hanomaks are topped. I don't want to get my expensive engineers pinned down by enemy fire in an expensive vehicle as I'm pushing up. That just seems dumb somehow. Right. What are we at order dice? We're at 19 order dice. I think this is probably where we want to be. More or less, I think we can do well with a sniper, but we don't really have the points right now. The German armored cars. Oh, we could go 8 rad, couldn't we? But we don't have the points for that either. What's a cycle with sight gun? Yeah, let's go one of those. That's very good. Right. So that would be my suggestion for how to make a German platoon at 1500 points. I am spending points on stuff that maybe isn't optimized here, but then again, because you have this many points, you can do that. We have 20 order dice, 1497. So we have 3 order dice left, enough to buy a single shot machine gun in one of the units. Doesn't really matter which one right now. We have the lieutenant regulars. We have the Feldjäger Corps to make our Strafe battalions into not shirkers. We have Storm Pioneers, 2 of those in heavy field cars along with the flamethrower team. So we have 3 flamethrowers that we can throw up against something. This is a really good counterpunch list that I'm making here. Whereas if the enemy stays still, we have also a lot of direct and indirect fire that just pumps out shot at it. I think most of these Storm Pioneers will stay behind cover in their field cars with the flamethrower just waiting to pounce on something. The Feldjägers will stay with the Strafe battalions on ambush in cover, making them better, making them just shoot out when the enemy moves up. Our mortars will start punishing anything that the enemy sticks out, as will the Howling Cow. The MC with the side gun machine car, that is something I can move back and forth. I can do the recce dance with that. That is pretty good. We have the Polizei tank to push and kill enemies that come forward. We have the Brandenburgers to ensure that we don't get outflanked or the enemy has trouble, at least coming in from reserve. That's always fun. The Strafe battalions are all large squads of regulars, so they don't get the -1 to hit, but they are pretty cheap. And since we have that Feldjäger unit, we're not going to feel that they're shirkers at all. We have another medium mortar here, the flamethrower team, the flak. That is good. Sit that in some cover and just enjoy your gun shield and just shoot out. It's always nice. The Kugelblitz is a terrible, terrible weapon. It's really good at blowing up the 8+ armored vehicles that we see everywhere in the meta right now. So that would be my suggestion for how to run a dual platoon German list at 1500 points. 20 order dice is basically where I would want to be at that point level. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it, and have a good vacation while I also am on vacation. We're going to see each other again, but it might take a little bit longer than you're used to. Bye.